All right, module number 6. We're going to start a deep dive into your resume. You can read all these articles. Everyone seems to be an expert, but what's cool about working with me here is that I've seen so many thousands and thousands of resumes, and then I've crafted mine, multiple times and helped others with their resumes. So I'm definitely an expert at this. And what you got to realize is that recruiters and these robots and even managers, they see so many of these resumes. And so they're able to look at it and decide whether it's a good one or not within the first 10 seconds. And so I'm going to align you with that first 10 seconds because that's what they're looking at. And one thing I couldn't believe when I was a recruiter is that so many of these resumes that were some of the best ones were the short ones. They were the 1 page, maybe 1.5 page. But I really think, I'm 39 years old. My resume is 1 page. So there's no reason anyone younger than me should have more than 1 page of resume. And we'll get into why that is here in the module. So just a reminder, yes, resume is going to be great, but our goal is to have networked and to have the resume and to, of course, like I said, know somebody in the company, have the right resume, and then the experience. All 3 of those, that's what we're looking for. So if you don't have one of those, you just know that your competition does. And so that's the whole goal of this course is to the path to medical sales is to have all 3 of those. And that's why I really recommend the B2B, the business to business, because those jobs give you the awards and the accolades and the resume. And then you have a contact, and now you have the perfect resume, and you have the experience, and you have a contact. So just can't hit that home enough. And I'm sorry if that's not what you want to hear, and you want to get into medical sales in 2 months. That's fine. You might be able to do that. But I'm trying to get you guys set up where you are going to be set up for the rest of your life and that you can get one of these destination jobs, not just break into medical sales and have some junky job and then it's dead end and you're not really happy. I want you to be happy, and I want this to last for you. So I'll get off my horse there. All right. So what I realized when I was looking at these is these resumes have to be straight to the point, okay? So if you have some sales experience, who did you sell to? What did you sell? And then how good were you at it? Like, what were the results? Once you get past what you sold and who you sold to, you have the company's name, your position, who you sold to, and what exactly the product was, then everything else, the bullet points, this is why the resume needs to be short and doesn't need to be a long time, because it all has to be quantitative. So say if you didn't have a sales job and you led a project, well, what was the result of that project that you led? Did it save the company $10 million? Did it result in a new strategy that brought $10 million of sales? Everything has to be quantitative, and I get so mad. The key takeaway here, I just, when I see this, I'm just like furious. Do not put on your resume simple things like your job duties, okay? Great. You use Microsoft Excel or you use Microsoft or G Suite. Don't put that on your resume. If you're going out for a big time job, they're going to assume you can figure out the standard job duties. So don't put anything on your resume that is not a result of what you did or that's quantitative to what you as an individual contributed to the company. And yeah, this can be tough. You're going to be sitting around thinking, well, and I've been there. when I was a recruiter and then I had that cubicle job in college, I was like, what can I put on my resume? Like, I have no idea. And sometimes you need to collaborate, talk to other people that are on your team and just say, hey, they don't need to know you're looking around. Just say, I like to update my resume as I go, and do some thinking about it, and figure out what those bullet points are, because that's what matters. It's not those job duties. Do not put what your duties are. And then, if you're still in college and you don't really have any experience, you need to talk about other things that you've accomplished outside of school, and then what you've accomplished in school. So we'll break down here the format of what when I was a recruiter, and now a senior medical device sales consultant, what I'm looking for when I'm looking at a resume to talk to someone to bring them onto my team. So the title, this is pretty simple. Got to have this stuff. Obviously, your contact information. The key takeaways here on this is make sure you don't have some weird email address. Don't be like, Wildcat69 or something like that. Like, you want to have an email address that mimics what a company email would be, like john.doe@gmail, or John Doe Gmail. Or doe.john@gmail.com. Something simple that's going to be professional, because it's just going to raise some questions, and the recruiter and the manager being like, is this person really professional or not? So simple, get an email address. It takes 10 minutes if you don't have a good one right now. Another thing in the title, and this seems to be getting more popular, no picture. We're not going for a job in digital marketing. We're going for a sales job where results matter, not how you look. It doesn't matter if you won the prettiest or the most handsome in your school or whatever. We're not going for that. That doesn't matter. They're looking for results. So keep your picture off your resume. All right, header. I like a header when you're young. If you've been in sales for a really long time, I don't think it's as important. But when you're trying to break in, I think it's important to let them know what your objective is. So, for example, in this one, and make sure, you might even have to change this sometimes for the job you're going out for. If you really want to get into medical sales and you're going out for a job in orthopedics, say continuing sales in the field of orthopedic medical device sales. And so when you go into these interviews and you go and talk to these people, you want them to think that this is your life passion. Like, yeah, you want to get into medical sales, and sometimes you're just willing to do whatever it takes to get in with any company. Use that as a stepping stone for your destination job. I get it, but they don't need to know that. So make sure that you are being conscious of this, because the last thing you want to do is send a resume that says pharmaceutical sales when you're going out for a job in medical robotics. Like, they're going to be able to see right through you that you don't really have a plan, and that's what they want. So tailor your resume in these meetings. These managers and recruiters, they want to hear that you're really passionate about this job. And I know my old boss, and same with me, it's like, you want someone that wants that job. Like, that's their dream job, because that person's going to bust their butt. You don't want someone that's like, I wish I would have gotten that other job. Something like that. I mean, take this serious. Pay attention when you're submitting your resume to what your header and objective says. You can look up these and Google them. I mean, there's a million of them. and just kind of create your own based on some wording that you like. All right, education, name of your college. I mean, this is kind of basic. I think the key takeaways here is if you have a really good GPA and you want to broadcast that, go for it. That's awesome. I was not that person, so I did not put my GPA on there. And now another important thing is, I don't know, I mean, again, how everyone seems to be an expert. I've had people say, don't put the year you graduate on there. I think it's awesome. You want people to know that you might be younger and you're trying to break in, because that helps them realize that, you're going to be moldable and teachable. They're not going to have a picture of you because this is a sales resume. The only way they're going to know how old you are is based on the year that you graduated. So put that on there. If I'm looking at a resume and the guy graduated in high school in 1974, I'm going to be thinking, okay, he's a little bit older. This is an entry-level position. He probably has kids in college or kids in high school, and he's got a big mortgage and all these kind of things. Like, I would prefer to have someone that's younger and that, is going to be okay making less money in the entry level, and that's going to be hungry to build up and get that full line position. So put the year you graduated. I mean, these associate rep positions that are great to break in and learn under a more experienced sales rep, young is good. So don't be concerned about that. Other simple things here is just have, your major, and then, if you had a fraternity or sorority. And then a big thing, especially Stryker, they love college athletes. So if you are a college athlete, make sure to broadcast that out loud under your education, or later on in the kind of hobbies or activities area, which I will get to. But like, for example, I put mine had my high school, what year I graduated. And I mean, that's a good thing too, because especially if you graduated high school and went right to college and then were there for just 4 years, that's really good. That's what these managers are looking for, is that you weren't in college for 7 years. So if you were in college for 7 years, you're going to kind of want to hide that by maybe not putting the year you graduated high school. So in an ideal world, you graduate high school and 4 years later, like for example, I graduated high school in 2000. So it's got Farragut High School 2000 captain varsity soccer, because they love athletes. And then after that, it had University of Tennessee 2004, which they didn't really need to know. It was actually an extra semester. I wanted to get that extra football season of hanging out with my friends. So, just understand what the recruiters and what the managers are looking for, okay? That's the main thing here. All right, work experience, something we've already talked a little bit about is, who this is for people, this slide is mainly for people that have experience in sales. Who did you sell to? Did you sell to small business owners with under 50 employees? Did you sell to Fortune 500 companies? Talk a little bit about that. A little tip here is, if you were in inside sales, don't say that. You don't need to broadcast that you were in inside sales. They don't necessarily need to know on your resume that you only call people. And if you were in inside sales, don't put that. Say sales consultant. And then if they start asking you about it, you can say, yeah, I met customers in person. You don't need to say that only happened 2 times, but there's a way to sell yourself without telling total lies. So just remember, sometimes the devil's in the details, and you're really kind of selling yourself here. And you're doing a sales job, so you sell yourself to the manager, because then they know you're going to sell your product to the doctor. Yeah, exactly. So touching base on that again, is job title in-person sales. So outside sales consultant, or software sales, or whatever it might be. Just something to remember. Don't put it inside. If you work for a large company or you're already in B2B, make sure you put that the company has world-class sales training. I mean, if it was, I think there's a Fortune 100 or 1,000 training companies or something like that. Look it up. See if your company might be on there. I know that was a nice thing. And one of the reasons I went to Paychex is because they're recognized for that. So I made sure to put that on my resume. All right, if you have no sales experience, I think it's important to talk about customer service. Let them know that for example, if I had a job that was in customer service, or retail, or all these other kind of different things you might have done, let them know that you had top scores on all of your surveys. And then have it quantitative. 90% survey success rate, something like that. I'm just kind of speaking off the cuff, but hopefully whatever you are doing can be quantitative and have that on your resume. And then again, if you don't have any of this experience, I can't tell you enough to go get one of those B2B jobs. They pay pretty good. 1 year, 2 years at the most, you're out of there, and you'll have all the accolades and stuff that you need. All right, so then at the bottom, I think it's important to put down some interests you might have. And the main thing here is you got to think, okay, you're going to be calling on doctors. They're usually going to be in their late 30s up to their 60s. And medical device sales managers, they're going to be in their 30s and 40s and 50s. So you want to have interests that might align with them. Like, you don't want to say that you're a video gamer. Like, that's not impressive. So if you're going to put interests on there, make sure that they are something that is making you a better person all around. It involves like personal development, physical development, and right here at the bottom, competitiveness. Are you doing something outside of work that you are competitive? Like I still play an adult soccer league, and then I am really big into CrossFit. So, those are things that I know I have doctors I do CrossFit with, and then soccer, that's competitive. So I would put that on my resume. And then other just, good things. If you're into volunteer work, if you built Habitat for Humanity houses, marathons, just put stuff that makes you look like, just a great person all around. And someone that wants to get better in all areas of their lives, in their professional career, in their relationships, in their physical world. So that's kind of the takeaways there. And just, again, don't put anything weird. Don't say you played the flute in your high school band. It's just, a manager's not going to be very impressed with that. So think of what's impressive from their perspective. Yeah, so just to kind of wrap up a little in the resume section, you want it to be short, straight to the point. And if you don't have a lot of experience, they're going to see that you're young based on when you graduated. And because you are using quantitative results on your bullet points, they're going to say, hey, this girl's young, but they're impressive. And remember that it's okay. It's a good thing to be young, to get hired into medical sales, because it's going to be easier on the company to hire the most expensive competitor that makes $250,000 a year, and they can take a risk on you, making $100,000. All right, so this is kind of a bonus here. I've had a brag book. I've been super stressed about a brag book. I've never had to open up my brag book. So I think this is something that is just going to depend on the manager and what kind of person they're like. And in my opinion, if a manager goes through your brag book and is railing you about it, you're probably not going to want to work for that person. What a brag book is basically just like some kind of folder that you put, that you have. I mean, just that you put awards and stuff. Let me grab mine here real quick. I think I have one in here. Yeah, so here's my brag book. This has my resume on it. And then inside, it's got awards and it's got things like what I sold. And then it's got, rankings, and in this one it shows where I got a bonus. So sorry, that was kind of spur of the moment, but just to give you an idea of what a brag book is, because I think it's important to have one just to show that you're prepared. You want to have multiple copies of your resume, because you don't want to have just one resume and then you hand it to them and maybe there's someone else there. You don't know. And then now you're not looking at your resume and they're like, hey, what's this here? And you're going back and forth. Don't be that person. Bring 4 or 5 copies and make sure they're on resume paper. You don't want some junky, resume on little paper with your printer that's running out of ink or something like that. So this is a chance, if you do have a brag book, just take it as an opportunity to sell yourself. Like, for example, if it's use the brag book like you would have a piece of marketing material and you're going to go show a doctor, like, this is why this product's awesome. Hey, same with the brag book. This is why I'm awesome. Okay. So it's going to have, we talked about the resume copies, have a table of contents, any awards you might have won or great grades. And then if you have some sales experience and you have some trophies or something, take a picture and put it in there. You don't bring trophies into the meeting. I've heard of someone doing that. I'm like, it's terrible. Apparently they had like trophies and like sales medals. My boss told me about this and they were wearing them. Like, that's just ridiculous. Rankings, all that kind of stuff. That's what you would want to have in your brag book. So put one together. I mean, it's not fun. It might take a while. You'll have to dig up old emails, all that kind of stuff. But if you can put it together and like I said, I mean, some of that's like product stuff. I mean, you might be showing a manager kind of what you sold. They probably have no idea what you were selling and they don't really care. But then you get a chance to show how you sold, show them why that product was awesome. And they're gonna be a little wowed by that. That's cool. That's impressive. All right, so this is a little bonus tip. I've never done this, but my boss told me about it, and it makes perfect sense. It's really cool. So one thing you're going to struggle with when you're breaking in is, you're going to struggle with a lot of things. That's okay. That's why we have this course, and that's why, it doesn't happen overnight. But trying to break through these robot recruiters, which is all these companies, they filter out people, and you just go nowhere. And so I wish I would have heard about this tip back when I was submitting my resume to all the big companies all the time. I mean, I was submitting my resume for jobs, in like Iowa with Stryker or J&J or Medtronic. Like I wanted to get in so bad, I was going to move to who knows where to do it. And my resume probably just got lost in the shuffle because, it said medical device recruiter, but that's probably the only keyword that was on there. So what you can do is you can put these keywords in white. Think your resume is white. So the manager's not going to see these words, but they will show up when the robot recruiters are shifting through words in your resume. And so you can have, robotics, orthopedic sales, cardiovascular. I mean, just think of everything you've ever read or heard about medical sales and put those words in there. You can put them in like really small font because you don't want to make your resume like another page because you put all these keywords in. So yeah, that would be my recommendation is put medical device sales and then comma, orthopedic medical device sales, operating room, sales consultant, account executive, all those words, because a lot of different medical device companies use different words. I mean, an account manager might be the same as a spinal implant sales consultant. Like there's all different wording. So when you're going around and you're on MedReps, look at some of the words that they're looking for in the posts and add that to your tiny 8 font white area of your resume. It's just really cool. Something I had never thought of. So I think that's it for the resume section. I think you got a good head start here over all your competition that's trying to break in.